This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Okay, so ever since Joe Joyce got brutally stopped in round number 3 by Zhilei Zhang, there's been a lot of people on social media saying how Frank Warren doesn't care anymore. He's throwing Joe Joyce on the scrap heap. And people are saying that because of Frank Warren's post-fight interviews on his own platform and whatever else, where he's saying that it's a hard road back for Joe Joyce because of his age, and there's a couple of domestic fights maybe left for him, and maybe he wants to retire now, and things like that, rather than saying, listen, it's a loss, it happens, it's heavyweight division, we'll move on, he'll bounce back, everything will be fine. But that's not what he said. Now, I understand why people are saying this about Frank Warren, but I've been saying it for a long time, so it doesn't surprise me, it doesn't hurt my feelings or anything like that, that he would do this, because I see it firsthand, quite close to home sometimes, which is that while you're winning, you're flavour of the month. They're accessible to you on your phone. You get phone calls, you get text messages, so does your manager, everything seems great, you think you have a good relationship, you're friends with your promoter. As soon as you take a loss, suddenly you realise that actually I am no longer a person, I'm a product. And this is what I've been saying for a long time, that fighters need to accept you are a product. While you're winning, it's great. While you're selling tickets, that's even better. If you're a pay-per-view attraction, even better than that, right? But when your stock starts to fall, suddenly you're no longer needed. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong. Of course, morally it's wrong. Everybody would like to be treated like a proper human being, of course, but this is business. At the end of the day, Joe Joyce right now, his marketability is at an all-time low. It is. Because you have to remember that he's been beaten twice now, stopped twice now, by Zhilei Zhang. If you remember several months ago, when there was rumours that Anthony Joshua might be doing a world tour and even go to China, take on Zhilei Zhang. People are like, oh, well, this old man, this is typical of Anthony Joshua, all those kind of things, right? Joe Joyce does it. Oh, he's risking it now. That's a real good fight, and all these other kind of things, even though people were saying before how Joe Joyce would steamroll Anthony Joshua and whatever else, okay? It's amazing how things are said yesterday and totally different today. That just seems to be the way of the world. But the point is, what Frank Warren's doing there, or what it appears that he's doing, it's no different to every other fighter. It's just that a lot of fighters are not on the major platform of, they're the headliner. They're in the talking point. They're right on the precipice of challenging for a world title, and then they come unstuck. Now, I've maintained for a long time that, in my opinion, Frank Warren, Queensberry always had Dan Dubois as their favourite. That's why they wanted Dan Dubois to beat Joe Joyce when they fought. And even though Joe Joyce defeated Dan Dubois, what happened? It was Dan Dubois that got pushed into the position of the WBA. He ended up fighting Bogdan Dinu, and I pointed it out to everybody at the time that he's going to get a crack at the WBA regular world heavyweight championship before Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce was pretty much in no man's land, and if I'm Joe Joyce, I would be looking at my management team as well, because if somebody like me, a regular boxing fan, can see what the landscape was, why didn't his management team? The fact that they were happy for him to go the WBO route and pretty much go, yeah, okay, Frank, no problem, Frank, whatever you want, Frank. And Joe Joyce is at the back of the queue, as per the rotation. And I pointed it all out, and of course Queensberry weren't happy with the fact that I pointed it out. It is what it is. So if I'm Joe Joyce, I'm looking at my management team, and I'm looking to have a bit of a shake-up. Now, S-Jam for me is an S-Jam without Sam Jones. And the lad there who's, I don't know if he's actually running it, I don't know what it is, but he looks like a fish out of water. He looks uncomfortable being there. It's like he's just landed on his feet and he's in the boxing game and he doesn't know how he got there. That's the impression that I get. Now, of course, Joe Joyce, he has to take some blame on himself and, of course, the tactics. And again, he has to look at his training team and all that kind of stuff as well. So he needs a complete overhaul. And I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that this is what would happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Joyce went up to Queensberry and said, can you release me from my contract? And they went, yeah, all right, go on then. Without any kind of issues. Because at the minute, Joe Joyce, I'm going to presume he's still under contract. If he is under contract, he's going to have a pretty good deal. Are they going to want to pay Joe Joyce the kind of purse that he would be entitled to now, without him being in good fights? No, of course not. It's still a business. So as I said before, fighters who get upset about it, if you want to become a professional fighter, if you want to get onto the major platforms, accept you are a product. Forget the fact that your name is Joe Joyce. Forget the name that your name is whatever it may be. You are a product. All right? You're a gimmick. Accept it. If you can't accept it, then you're in the wrong sport. All right? So what Frank Warren could or could not be doing, who knows what he's really thinking, who knows? All we can really do is speculate. But you need to get used to it. Harsh sport, brutal sport. While you're winning, great. You take a loss, suddenly we don't have too much for you anymore. And if a promoter signs somebody and they're not selling the tickets, they're not getting the kind of headlines and the viewership, all that kind of stuff, suddenly you'll find yourself, you're not really getting fight dates. Because I can't afford you. It is what it is. It's all about marketability. That's all it is. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.